Now I know what you're thinking, this is probably the least original video idea ever. And if you're watching this and your name's Timmy, I completely agree with you. But a few days ago, Black Ops 2 was trending on Twitter and it made me think of the good old days. For what would be better than looking over the last 10 years of Call of Duty and ranking them from worst to best? Because it's insane to even think that nearly 10 years ago, Black Ops 1 first released. And we've had a lot of trivial releases over the past decade, including Ghosts, Advanced Warfare, and Infinite Warfare, to name a few. I can't stress highly enough that this is my own personal opinion, and yours will probably differ from mine. By all means, I'd love to hear it down below in the comment section. Argue away at anything I say that you don't like, or defend me about it in the comments. You can do that too. But I love a healthy discussion, so get your thoughts down there. And if you've played any of these games before, and you gotta press that like button before you leave the video. I can tell if you're lying. But anyway, we're gonna be kicking this off, ranking them from worst to best. So starting in the bottom on my list is going to be a little game called WWII. Yeah, that's right, World War II. And I know this is not going to be a very popular opinion, as I know a lot of people actually really like this game, especially after the massive overhaul it got halfway through its life cycle. Now, just so we're clear, I'm ranking these games in the list of their overall package, which includes the campaign, the multiplayer, and the co-op mode. And I thought that World War II's multiplayer was, you know, okay. It wasn't anything special, but it was, you know, decent at the time. Everyone wanted that boots on the ground, and that's what we got, but it wasn't anything overly special, and I wasn't keen on returning when the overhaul happened. The campaign, from what I played, was, you know, decent as well. It was pretty good, and by no means was it the worst COD campaign I've ever played. Black Ops 3 definitely holds that title. There wasn't anything in it that was overly memorable in my opinion, and Zombies, it started out with what I thought was a pretty good launch map, to be fair, but I felt every DLC map afterwards, besides Shadowed Throne, just got worse and worse. I thought the whole premise of the horror aspect was fantastic, but it just wasn't very fun to play, and it didn't sit well with the community at large, and I think that sort of had a big role to play in the fact that it just wasn't received very well. Coming in as the second worst on our list is going to be Infinite Warfare. Now, it does pain me to put it down here because Zombies on Infinite Warfare was a real delight. Infinity Ward's first attempt at real true zombies, and Spaceland is one of the finest zombies maps ever created. Like, they got so much right with this initial zombies map in comparison to the setting of the main game that it's absolutely crazy. I didn't think the DLC maps were too great, but they were a mixed bag, but the multiplayer was easily one of the worst in the series. It was the last true jetpack multiplayer, and I didn't even hit first prestige. I think I quit playing for only about 40 minutes of in-game time. I just really didn't enjoy it. And I've heard that the campaign is one of the best that there's ever been in Call of Duty, and I want to give it the benefit of the doubt because I love a good campaign, but I haven't played it. And I'm very ashamed to say it. I definitely don't want to write it off for that campaign, but you know, you only play a campaign once or twice. The multiplayer and the zombies is really where it's at, and the multiplayer really wasn't there, and zombies was there, but it also fell kind of flat towards the end. Up next is Modern Warfare Remastered, and I don't think there really needs to be much said about it. It remastered one of the greatest campaigns ever in a Call of Duty game, but it also brought the multiplayer into territory where I didn't think it belonged. On one hand, I do feel that having a game like this updated with new fresh content every so often is only going to make the game feel more alive and fresh, but you know, it's a remaster of an old game. I don't think it needed that stuff, and I think it hindered the game in my opinion, and it didn't really hold my attention for very long. Like, obviously if I want to go back to the campaign, I'll jump on the remaster any day over the original, but there's really not much to say here. The next we've got on our list is Call of Duty Ghosts, and yeah, at the time this was not a popular game by any means, but in more recent times people remember this game a bit more fondly, where they talk about the multiplayer as you being somewhat decent. And I remember I did play quite a bit of multiplayer on this game back in the day. It wasn't anything special, but I think that was a good thing. It had amazing hit registration from what I remember, and it just seemed to be, you know, okay. Not great, but decent. The campaign wasn't all that memorable, if I'm being completely honest, and it had an ending which was so obviously going to be continued in a sequel that was never going to happen because, hello, it's Call of Duty Ghosts. But they did introduce Extinction mode, which I actually really enjoyed. I enjoyed it back in the day when it was the mode to play, and I look back at it very fondly, and a lot of you guys do now, as being a fantastic mode that was definitely overlooked. It had its fair share of good and bad maps. I think the launch map and DLC 2 were incredible, and that's such a weird pattern in pretty much every Infinity Ward game they've done. But I think at the time Extinction was underrated and overlooked because it wasn't zombies. It wasn't an infinite round thing. It was a set thing where you had to go and do these, escape the map, and that was it. But it was hella creative and had its own storyline with its own unique weapons. And I mean, you compare that to Modern Warfare 2019, you don't have that whatsoever. Spec Ops, I'm looking at you with that one. But coming in straight after is Advanced Warfare. Now, I'm sure this might be surprising to some, and I will admit that Advanced Warfare is not my favorite Call of Duty game, but back in the day, the multiplayer was very fun to play. You cannot disagree that in a world full of boots on the ground games, having a Call of Duty for the very first time with jetpacks, in the future for the second time after Black Ops 2, with a really fun campaign and multiplayer, like, it was a pretty good game. Supply drops definitely did ruin absolutely everything, but I have a lot of firm memories with this game. Exo Zombies, on the other hand, oh my god, where do we begin? I'm at least thankful that we were given a zombies mode in the DLC season, because it didn't look like we were going to get one, because it wasn't there on launch. It started out pretty good, then it went absolutely diabolically wrong, and it never really redeemed itself. But I do have some firm, fun memories with this mode, so that's why I'm putting Advanced Warfare here. Coming in next is going to be Modern Warfare 2019. Now, a lot of you guys might be very surprised and probably outraged, because it always seems to be the in thing to hate the current Call of Duty game, and a lot of people don't like Modern Warfare. This is the first game in many, many years where I can sit down and I can play the multiplayer and I actually have fun, like I really enjoy it. The skill-based matchmaking definitely frustrates me to no end on this game, but nevertheless, it's still a really fun game with friends, and I do enjoy playing it. It definitely has its issues, but aside from that, I think it's a pretty robust game, and with the campaign as well, I really enjoyed it. I've played that like 4 times now, and although it's not a very long campaign, it still has some pretty cool moments, and it's a great reboot to the Modern Warfare trilogy. Spec Ops, on the other hand, though, is just absolutely awful. It's not really gotten much better with all of the new missions and operations that they've added. I feel like there's a lot of people that have just lost interest in that. My interest is only still slightly there, but I mean, you've not really seen me cover Spec Ops in the last month or so, and I think that explains everything. Coming in next is going to be Modern Warfare 3, which came out in 2011. And it's kind of crazy to think that, right? Because back in the day, this was huge. Like, the game to follow up Modern Warfare 2, it had to be everything and more. And I think it delivered pretty much on almost every front. The campaign was a great way to end this trilogy. It had a pretty awesome ending, but there wasn't really a lot of memorable moments. What I mean by that, I mean nothing really happened until the end when Soap died. From that moment on, you got hit with a wave of nostalgia from various stuff from the other Modern Warfare games, which I admit were very, very cool moments, like being back from the all gillied up moments, as well as seeing a different perspective of the nuke going off in the original Modern Warfare and going through Terminal again and trying to stop No Russian from happening. That was absolutely awesome, but there was nothing overly memorable besides Soap's death in the campaign. So I definitely put it as the weakest of the Modern Warfare campaigns, but it's still a pretty darn good one at that. Multiplayer was fantastic as usual. Besides the addition of death streaks, everything about the multiplayer was just as good as Modern Warfare 2. It was more balanced with a great selection of weapons. Moabs were a great thing, as well as specialists. There was many different ways to play it, and it was super, super addictive. Spec Ops returned from Modern Warfare 2, and it was just as good as I remember it. And we also had survival mode, which was, you know, weird. I mean, we had it in 2011, but yet we're in 2019 and only the PlayStation has it. I don't really get it. But yeah, that was a game that I definitely spent a lot of time playing with my friends, but wasn't really a game I'd play played for YouTube videos, but still very fun. Love to know where you place Modern Warfare 3. But now we get into the top 4 games. So coming in at number 4 is going to be Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Now I think this is going to be everyone's least favorite Black Ops game. Black Ops 4 was a very mixed bag. We didn't get a campaign, but we got specialist stories, which was like the remnants of a campaign, and I guess it was pretty cool. Multiplayer, I honestly didn't play too much. What I did play, I did enjoy, but it didn't seem to grip me like the previous Black Ops multiplayers did, which I never really sunk too much time into in Black Ops 4. Blackout was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it for the first 2-3 months of the game's release. I know there's some people out there that still play Blackout every single day, and it's great. It's a great addition. It just didn't really grab my attention for the entire life cycle. And zombies, well, Black Ops 4 zombies, where do we begin? What a mixed bag it was. Obviously, after the ending of Black Ops 3 Zombies with Zombies Chronicles, we were itching for the next iteration of zombies. It was going to be amazing. It had to be, and it was. And it wasn't at the same time. I think the word to describe the Black Ops 4 Zombie season was just different. It was different. I still thoroughly enjoyed Black Ops 4. I still do enjoy Black Ops 4. It just didn't seem to have that same shine like the previous Black Ops games did. And coming in at number 3 is going to be Black Ops 3. Now I know this is a controversial placing. Why is it not second? Why is it not first? Well, Black Ops 3 had one of the worst campaigns in any Call of Duty game. Like, you have 1 and 2, and then you follow it up with this story that is no way linked to those games whatsoever. It makes no sense whatsoever, and it's just complete garbage. I'm sorry, Jason, that I hurt your baby like that, but it's true, okay? Multiplayer on Black Ops 3 was an absolute delight. I love the multiplayer on Black Ops 3 Zombies. It was the jetpack season done right. It was the introduction of specialists. We had some incredible maps. It was just incredibly fun with some amazing kill streaks. It was fantastic. I love the multiplayer, and I think it was only the ones in most recent times that I actually managed to get the highest prestige on. And zombies, oh my god, this is the best game for zombies bar none. Black Ops 3 is absolutely fantastic. It has something for everyone, and it was really the best time to be a zombies YouTuber in my opinion. Everything about that season was just phenomenal. There's not a single zombies map that released on Black Ops 3 that is considered garbage. There really isn't. It was also a game which just offered so much content on day one, and it just has so much even now. You've got campaign, you've got multiplayer, you've got zombies with 5 main DLC maps as well as a further 8 in Zombies Chronicles. You've got Dead Ops Arcade 2, you've got Nightmares, you've got Free Run. It's just an incredible package, and that really feels to me like the last COD game where everyone truly felt mesmerized by a Call of Duty game. But coming in at the number 2 spot is going to be Black Ops 1. Now, I will be honest, it was difficult to put which one would be third and which one would be second, but Black Ops 1 is just one of the best robust packages ever for Call of Duty. It was the first COD of the decade, and it was amazing. The campaign is the best campaign we've ever had in a Call of Duty game. There is no discussion on that, no arguments, because if you don't agree, then you're just silly, right? Zombies was absolutely incredible. Kino and Five started off with an amazing DLC season that began the birth of Easter egg quests inside of maps. You had the storyline, which was finally becoming a main thing within the maps rather than you just having to work it out through clues, sounds, and radios, and ending with the moon Easter egg. It was just incredible. Like Black Ops 1, so much we owe to zombies came from Black Ops 1. And then you throw on the World at War maps into the Black Ops 1 engine. I mean, how can you complain? What else is there to say? And then you've got multiplayer, which was absolutely awesome. Some of the most iconic maps ever were in that game, such as Nuketown, WMD, Firing Range, Summit, Launch. The list goes on. It's just like one of the most robust Call of Duty games that we've had this decade. It's just amazing, but there's only one that can compete, and oh my god, if it wasn't first, I think you guys would be going nuts in the comment section, and the #1 Call of Duty game of the decade is Black Ops 2. And oh my god, this was, in my opinion, when COD was in its true prime. Like I said, Black Ops 3 is like the last critically acclaimed game which everyone was flooding towards playing, but Black Ops 2 was where everything just became perfect. You had a campaign which followed on from Black Ops 1. You thought it would be impossible, but they delivered a great campaign. And to make it even better, it was the first ever COD campaign to have multiple endings based on decisions you made throughout, which was absolutely fascinating and added such great replay value. You also had an amazing villain, which was the first time a Treyarch COD campaign had a true villain. It was the first futuristic Call of Duty game, and it got pretty much everything right. Multiplayer, goodness me, this was where Call of Duty multiplayer was at its prime, its peak. It never got better than Black Ops 2. It felt like the most refined, balanced, perfect multiplayer with some fantastic maps and weapons. It was also the first game that brought Call of Duty into the competitive scene, where it was supported and developed from the ground up to support competitive with the league play mode, which was absolutely amazing. Like, considering I played zombies non-stop, I adored league play and multiplayer because the multiplayer was just that good. And zombies, wow, what a package. It's definitely a mixed bag, and I wouldn't say that Black Ops 2 Zombies is the best zombies we've ever had, because Black Ops 3 deserves that award 100 times over. Black Ops 2 had a pretty rough start with Transit and Die Rise as its first main zombies maps, but when you've got legends like Mob of the Dead, Buried and Origins in there, you can't ignore the overall zombies package. It was unbelievable how good zombies got as the season went on. It's probably one of the only zombie seasons that got better as time went on, rather than it slowly getting worse. And as much of a meme as it is, Transit is iconic. Like, you look back at it now and it's just a map that never gets old. It's just so interesting, and people have such fond memories of the bus and the lava that it's become like pop culture almost. Something which COD has never really achieved since, besides Advanced Warfare's press F to pay respects. But that's going to round up ranking every COD game released in the last decade from worst to best. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to hit that like button, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell for more videos like this. If you want to see more opinionated ranking list videos, be my guest, put it down below in the comments, but I'll catch you guys in the next one.